Hello everybody and welcome to the Euro Titans Championship here in the Elite Division, and it is round 10 for the fabulous French Grand Prix here at Paul Ricard, or Le Castellet, depending on what you refer to it as, just outside the magnificent city of Marseille here in the south of France, where BRT are still sitting pretty at the top of the standings with 138 points clear over the next over the next team, shall we say, ABS Racing. So they've got a very comfortable, healthy lead, and with only 3 rounds to go, including this evening, I would argue that maybe they can snatch the title away. Of course, I haven't done the maths, if I'm being completely honest with everybody here. But I think it is possible for them to take it here, but I will have to wait and see until afterwards, of course. But we are just watching everybody head into the pits after they have all done their first runs here. Currently sitting at the top of the timing screen is Matteo for BRT, a 1:28.7. And he is very closely followed by Red Tox, new here this evening, and representing ABS in that Ferrari outfit. 0.032 hundredths of a second. It's very, very close at the top indeed, and then it does begin to trail off a bit further down towards the end. Actually, we do have 2 cars out on the circuit here. AMS Kieran for Aston Martin, and of course AMS, and then another newcomer here for the Williams outfit, IRS, and that is Hockside. I'm not sure, they're both on outlaps currently as a second. Apologies, I do have a little bit of a cold this evening, but I'm hoping it won't affect me too much. I may just have a brief pause here or there to take a sip of water or something like that to help me with my throat. But apart from that, we're here for some good action, some good racing, and we've got a fairly healthy grid of 16 cars here this evening. But I tell you what, enough talking about how many people are here. Let's get some on-track action. We'll ride on board then for a lap here with Hockside as he rounds out the final corner of this French Grand Prix. 15 corners, 9 to the right and 6 to the left. 2 DRS zones around this 5.842 kilometre, 3.6 miles, and heading into the turn 1 chicane, making sure to clip all the apexes and use as much road as you dare on the exit of it as well. And then the charge down towards turn 3 here into Hotel, and then through this very quick left-hander before you head right once again into Virage, long right-hander then before you head onto the Mistral straight, which is this one right here coming up. DRS zone will be in activation. That means the drivers, if they are within a second of the car in front, they get a healthy dose of that rear wing opening up. But then into the Nord chicane, quick flick left of the steering wheel before you have to turn it right once again and finish off this straight down towards Sine. Turn 10 flat out. Look at that, giving his teammate a healthy dose of speed as they get towards turn 10 here. And then into 11, long right hander. You're turning in flat out before you lift off the throttle. Late apex, and again as much road as you dare without running it wide. Into 12, this is Bendor, before you head through 13, this right hander here of Garlaban. And then into the penultimate corner, Latour. And then getting it as wide, much left as you can before you get late apex for the right-hander of Dupont. And then you make your way over the start-finish line. And that will complete a lap then of Paul Ricard. What's his time going to be? It's pretty good actually from Hockside. P3 currently he sits. I can't see what time it is. He's 1.5 seconds off. Let's change that, shall we? If I can get the actual times. Maybe I can't get the actual times. Never mind. It was a pretty good lap nonetheless. We'll try and change it. Here we go, fastest lap, there it is. We've got there in the end. I can take the tyres off, because we all know what people are qualifying on. It's going to be that soft compound tyre to give you the best possible run in it. And of course it'll give you the most grip over a 1 lap sprint, if you like. And now look, he's returning the favour as well for his teammate IRS Anis. He's currently sitting down there in P9. I'll tell you what then, why don't we finish the lap with him as well as he makes his way through the Nord chicane and onto the second part of the back straight here before we get towards Sine. I'm going to go with Sine this evening. My French is not up to snuff, so excuse me if I do pronounce it wrong, but either way we'll get some good action through this Grand Prix, whether my pronunciation is on point or not. Into the final sector the Williams man goes, driving for IRS. Can he nail it? Unsure on what sort of time he is doing. But here, Jack RT then takes provisional pole, 1:28.5, a couple of tenths then ahead of Matteo for BRT. Jack looking to really make an impression here in the ETC, but IRS might have something to say about it as well, or maybe not. 1:29.1, it's an improvement, it's a tenth up there, but unfortunately no improvements on the timing board. He's still currently down in P10 at the moment. We have had two cars retire. That's the FGE garage. That's the McLarens there you can see at the bottom of the screen. We've got ROMB Ford, FGE Samuel. I believe both are making their debut for FGE this evening. B Ford I know rather well, so I'm expecting good things from him in the race. He's very much a race merchant. So it'll be interesting to see how he can pick his way through the field. Of course, if he can, he has to do the work to get the result, of course, as that's Matteo getting a nice healthy dose of extra help down the back straight, and then now into the final few corners there, 12, 13, before we get to the penultimate of Latour, and then into the final corner, DuPont once again, and we'll see what his time will be as he finishes this lap off. Up and over the line. What's it going to be as he reaches that checkered flag mark? Oh, he goes provisional pole, and by a good margin as well. That's nearly 4 tenths. That's, what is that? Is that 3 tenths ahead of Jack RT? Absolutely obliterated the time there, really. 1:28.2, and he will retake that provisional pole position away from Jack RT. And well, now everyone's got the marker that they need to aim for. Matteo has laid down the gauntlet. And it's whether anyone has the skill, capabilities, talent, and the rest of it to go and try and take it away from him. Can be a fairly tricky circuit, the Paul Ricard, as it is a fine balance of aerodynamics, and it's quite a challenge for the drivers to set the car up right this evening, as there is a lot of straights that you can see around the circuit, so you want a good set of straight line speed. But at the same time, of course, in the sort of final sector especially, but even down towards the end of Sector 1, it can get quite tight and technical. So you never know, because of course you do need to find that good balance. So it'll be interesting to see what people go for then in terms of their sort of setup this evening, whether they do aim for that lower downforce setup. Of course, you get the ability to overtake a bit easier in the race, but you will lose a bit of time through those twisty technical sections, of course. But with just over 3.5 minutes to go, everyone's, if they're not in the pit, there's a few out on track, but they're all getting ready to set that final flying run. So this is now the make or break moment of qualifying, where we will see where people line up for the race. Of course, we know where the McLarens will be, but everywhere else, for everyone else, it is entirely up to them on the lap time that they can set now. Just over 3 minutes to go then. We'll ride on board then. Another newcomer for BRT in that Haas outfit, and that is Meatball, the Swedish man. And they are obviously well known and famous for their meatballs as well. And he shows his name rather appropriately, I find. So good luck to him either way. I'm sure he's doing pretty well at the moment. Currently P4. He's about just over 5 tenths down from his teammate, but he did give his teammate a nice little healthy dose of slipstream down at this second part of the straight. Of course, there's no DRS down that second part, so if you can get an extra help from a teammate or even a rival, if you time it right, then yeah, you will be laughing, because you will pick up a nice bit of speed on your way through 10 and then into 11, which is where they're heading now currently. But into the final sector they go, and they're all getting ready to start on their final flying runs. I'll tell you who we will ride on board with then is AMS Kieran. He is on his final flying run, I believe. although it's not looking very quick, so maybe he's winding up to go once again and having a second outlap, but I don't think that's going to be too good for the tyres. It's the only thing I'm worried about and thinking right here. But he's got a nice bit of clean track in front of him, so that is good news. But yeah, it looks like he's taking his time. He's going to head round and maybe go once again. He's going to let this gaggle of cars pass, so good on him. Keep him well out of the way. But he's not on a lap just yet. So in which case, then we'll ride back on board with Hockside. He is on a lap by the looks of it. Yes, he's absolutely pushing the limits of the track there. Just about keeping it within the white lines. The legality of which he needs to do. Otherwise, the lap will be invalidated and it will not count. So doing absolutely everything he needs to do right now. Who's that? That was AMS Lawrence, I believe, retiring in the pit lane. So it shouldn't cause any issues whatsoever. I didn't quite catch if Hockside was going quicker down into at the exit of Sector 1, I should say, but into the North Chicane he goes. Is he going to get held up? No, that's his teammate once again, right ahead of him. Hopefully he's hoping for a little bit of extra speed and boost, but it looks as though he's backed off, so maybe this isn't going to be... No, it definitely isn't going to be the lap he was hoping for. However, BRT Meatball... It is going to be Meatball instead of Meat Burl. I can't do that all evening. He is going to get a lovely dose of speed from his teammate. But now into the final sector he flies. And hopefully that Williams, yeah, tucks nicely out of the way. Well done there, man. Good stuff. What we like to see. Camaraderie and good sportsmanship. Through 13 into 14. Latour and then DuPont, the final corner. Late apex, tight right-hander. And oh, a little bit of a wobble there on the exit, but he should be all right. Run up to the line. What's this time going to be? It's a 1:28.7. Little bit of an improvement, but not enough. He's still fourth. That's not enough of an improvement to make his way further up. So he will stay fourth, and I think that is his final flying run. Yeah, he's completely backed off, of course, as I would expect. Who's going to be the first one to finish qualifying here for us this evening? Everybody now on a flying run. I think Matteo is going to be the last across the line. First across the line, though. It's not going to be Tom Bunner. It's going to be Tyler. Actually, it was Jack RT. Finished second, 1:28.5. Tyler comes across the line next, 29.3. That will give him good enough for 12th at the moment. Who's the next car to cross the line? It looks like one of the Alpha Tauris. Not this one, so it's going to be Liam Hardman then. Into the final corner of DuPont. Tight apex. Looks as though he hooked it up rather nicely there, actually. Now, the run down towards the line. The little drag strip really is what it is. We'll see it. He's improved by 3 tenths. Wait, he goes P3 then. What a lap by Liam Hardman. He's now P3 then. Currently, who's next across the line? Looks like one of the Aston Martins. It's AMS Kieran. He goes 7th fastest. Now comes one of the Ferraris. It's going to be Red Tox. Or before that is his teammate of Paul. Good enough for 7th. What can Red Tox do? It's a small improvement. He goes 2nd fastest then. So, not many challengers left against Matteo, who currently still sits at the top of the timing screen by a good 3 tenths. I don't think he's going to really need to improve there. There's another finisher. Who was that? I think that's Tom Bunner. ATX James also setting a lap, 9th and 10th respectively. Let's ride back on board here then with Meatball. He's going into the pit, so he's not going to improve. Hockside across the line. Can he do anything to challenge Matteo? It doesn't look as though it's going to be. No, he's well down on the lap times. Has Niall got anything up his sleeve in his locker? No, he's also into the pits. So that means Matteo, he's retired, doesn't need to finish the lap, of course. And he'll take not provisional anymore. He will take pole position then here for the French Grand Prix. And took it rather comfortably as well. So good on him. Very nice lap time for the BRT driver. 2.5 tenths there, the gap. Back to P2 of Red Tox in that ABS Ferrari. Good lap time from him though, and obviously the race still to come. So this might not be obviously the overall finishing positions, but it does give us a pretty good indication. But yeah, Matteo there for BRT. The pole man, Red Tox second, Jack RT rounds out the top 3. Liam Harmon, a magnificent 4th position then. Good stuff from him in that Alpha Tauri. TIR will be happy. BRT, Meatball, Hockside 6th, Paul 7th, AMS Kieran. That's a pretty good 8th place for him as well. Tom Bunner in 9th. James rounds out your top 10. Then we have Niall, Anis, Lawrence, Tyler, and then we got the 2 McLarens down the back, B Ford and Samuel 15 and 16th. So then, qualifying over the race to come. 27 laps around this magnificent circuit. Obviously, it is very flat, but it doesn't take away from the racing experience, of course, although real life may have something to say about that. But it is looking a little overcast as we jump into the race conditions for this evening. I wonder, will that spell a little bit of rain then as we get into the race? I don't have the information in front of me, of course, but at the moment dry, but looking very overcast. So if it does stay a dry race, then we are looking at a one-stop strategy, and I've got it down here. Any combination works, whether you want to go soft to hard, soft to medium, or mediums to softs, mediums to hard, whatever you like, it will work for you around here. I don't think the gap between the tyres are too dissimilar. It's whatever you are the most comfortable on. But yeah, the Paul Ricard circuit, it can give you 167 different track configurations then, ranging from 0.8 kilometres all the way up to 5.5 kilometres. So yeah, there's no short of different circuit configurations that you can have around this French Grand Prix. It also makes it very useful for testing, of course, and it is predominantly used now as a testing circuit, as it has been re-retired, the French Grand Prix, from current Formula 1 calendar. Of course, maybe it will make a comeback again, but I think we're waiting for either Esteban Ocon or maybe a Pierre Gasly to become world champion before that happens. They are leading the French charge, the cavalry up front for this great nation. But they do need to, I think, pull it out a little bit more before they have a massive uproar that there is no French Grand Prix on the calendar. So, of course, we do wait for that to happen. But as it stands at the moment, no French Grand Prix, which is a shame because it is the birthplace of modern Grand Prix racing. And we had the first ever modern Grand Prix held here well over 100 years ago. It is known for the world oldest Grand Prix, held on the 26th of June 1906, and that was near Sarthe, where the modern day Le Mans is held. And you know what the winner got for winning that evening, or that day, should I say? He got 13 kilograms of gold, and yeah, well, that's a pretty penny if I ever heard of it. So I definitely wouldn't mind 13 kilograms of gold in my back pocket, although I don't think it would fit, to be honest. So either way, yeah, I'm sure that man, whoever won it on that day, I don't have his name unfortunately, but I'm sure he was a very, very happy bunny indeed. And you have a fact I've got here for you all. French manufacturer Renault won their first French Grand Prix in the original Grand Prix in 1906. And then they had to wait another 73 years before they could achieve their second. And that was in 1979. So if you think you're in a slump, just think back to Renault and their French Grand Prix. Their home Grand Prix took them 73 years for them to get another victory. And that is a long time to wait. That's a lifetime for some people. But here we are. The lights are on. The cars are lined up on the grid. There's 4. There's 5. They are out, and away they go. Good start there for the Haas of Matteo. Looks to get away from the line pretty well. Covers off that line of the guy, Red Tox. Oh, we've already had an incident. There's already a car gone. Hockside is out. He's in the barrier. And I think that may even be a full safety car already. I've not even had a chance to get my settings all done. And we've already lost one of the drivers. That's Hockside down at the back in the barrier. I didn't quite see what happened, but we've got an AlphaTauri going slowly. That's Liam Hardman then. He started in 4th. And I think that's an end plate missing. So maybe he has come to tangle with that Williams driver. But lap 1, and we've not even got to the first corner really, and virtual safety car is out. So not a full safety car then. I think that's rather sensible. And it's already gone. They're under green once again. Matteo got a pretty good start there. Red Tox, also Jack RT following on by, as everyone else, they all seem to have fallen in line now. They've got their little train already formed up, and DRS is mighty powerful around here at Paul Ricard. You don't want to drop back over a second because it will be a very long race for you, as it is incredibly difficult to catch back up without that extra boost of straight line speed. However, we are on lap 1, DRS not in activation just yet, so it is down to skill and talent. And look at that, B Ford already up into 9th position. He's not even finished one lap and he's already gained a good handful of those positions. looking good so far. Let's see how much further he can go in this Grand Prix, but they are all away now, and apart from one, they're all facing in the right direction. Two down there at the back pitting. AMS Kieran also into the pits. I wonder, did he have a bit of front wing damage as well? I can't quite see on the car. We'll then double check. Have they got a wing rating for him? It looks as though they do. Yes, there he is. Jackman there holding a big old green wing, ready to go on the front of that Aston Martin. We'll get back into some action then, whilst those guys are in the pits getting some repairs in. At least they'll still have each other to race. But it is a long way to go. We've only started lap 2. And of course, well, look at that. B-Ford already up another position into 8th he goes. 7 gained from the start of this Grand Prix. Apologies. I know everyone is now shouting at me in the comments. Tyres. I want to see the tyres. There you are. You can see those tyres. B-Ford on those brilliant bright red compound of softs. He's going to be looking to make an impression then on this. Already right up onto the back as we had a move further up. That's Meatball and Jack RT going side by side through turn 11 and into 12. Meatball then making it a move to get past Jack RT. He'll have to settle for 4th, then slots back into the train, as that is going to be the trend here. And I've been told it's dry for the race, so hopefully then we won't see any drops of rain, and we'll keep it nice and dry throughout. That's good for racing, I believe, really, because it does make it a little bit tricky in the rain. However, it can be a big neutraliser, of course. B-Ford there setting the fastest lap time, 1:32.7, and DRS is now enabled. So if the drivers out there are within a second of the guy in front, they will have that rear flap in the rear wing open. It'll give them a burst of speed in the DRS zones. We have 2 of them here this evening. The first one's on the Mistral straight coming up right now as we make our way through 6 and 7 onto that straight. DRS, there it is, in activation. Give them an extra boost of speed down here into the Nord chicane, and then the second zone is over the start-finish line. Oh, that took car round. Who was that? That was Meatball. He's round. The Haas is round. He's not in the barrier, thankfully, but he has gone up and over the curb by the looks of it, spinning it and facing the wrong way. He'll rejoin at the back then of this train, and he'll hope that maybe he can stick within the DRS. Otherwise, that could spell disaster for his evening. I think he's going to be A-OK for the time being, but that does promote then B-Ford up another position. He's now 5th, and it's not even the end of lap 3. He's absolutely charging through this field, and he's already looking to line up another. He's on the rear of Jack RT, pushing that Red Bull round pretty much. He's well within the gearbox then. Onto the start-finish straight they go. DRS in activation, as I say, for this little straight. Will we see a move then into the chicane of turn 1 and 2? Yes, we might do. He pulls out of the slipstream, up the inside of the Red Bull he goes. They're going to be side by side through here then, down through turn 2, using all the track he can. Makes the move stick around the outside of 2, and will happily have it done by the time we get to hotel of turn 3. Good move there from B-Ford, and he's already sniffing at a podium then come the start of lap 4. He's onto the back of that Ferrari. DRS in activation once again for this lot. B-Ford maybe having a look for another move, as he is the man on the move. As Lawrence makes a move on Tyler a bit further down. He's going to try it on the exit then of the Nord chicane. He may even have it done already before they get to Chenet of turn 10. Flat right hander. He's going to hold that tight inside line to make sure that he's defending from that Ferrari. Into turn 11 they go. Still holding the inside line is B-Ford. And I think he's got that position cemented at the moment. Takes then the final podium spot, and I don't think it's over and done yet. He's now going to go chasing after second, and then of course Matteo in first. And this man is absolutely on a fly. Used a lot of battery up though. 33% left for this McLaren and FGE. And down the start finish straight they go to the begin lap number 5 then. He's going to be under a bit of threat here, is B Ford. ABS Paul not giving this up just yet. Sits quite closely to the back of that McLaren. Down towards Hotel they fly in through 4. And we've lost Niall, unfortunately, into Virage and a 5. Look at the Red Bull potentially having a little sniff of a move then through Virage before they get onto the Mistral straight. That's Jack RT, but then potentially trying to make a move on ABS Paul. As there we go, we're having a move for the lead as well. Red Tox then getting past Matteo before they make it to the Nord chicane. Obviously Matteo there didn't have the DRS to help him along, but of course Red Tox taking full advantage of that. But now Matteo will sit in the DRS zone of Red Tox, so maybe this is his chance to save a bit of battery. I say that as it's practically full, so he has not really been abusing the ERS system in that Haas car. So he's not saying he's taking it easy, but he's been a bit relaxed then on the old battery power, as has Matteo, unlike this man B Ford who's got 20% left. And this is rather amusing, as I know this man as the battery king hardly ever uses it, but look at this, he's down to 25% at the beginning of lap 6. He's been on an absolute flying charge through the field, already into the podium positions he goes, and he'll look to go chasing on further up. ATX James then for Red Bull and that Artifacts Racing team. He's having a pretty good start at the moment, currently sitting P7 then into Hotel of turn 3, through 4 they go, and then into Virage, closing up nicely to that AlphaTauri, the Stride Esports team. He's up on his lap time, that's good news. He'll have the DRS then as we get onto the Mistral straight. Lovely camera angle shot there we just had. Is he going to get enough speed to maybe make a move into the North Chicane? He closes up. They're going to pull out of the slipstream. Side by side they go. They're still holding it side by side. I think maybe the Red Bull just about eking out an advantage. But this is not over yet. They'll continue fighting probably down towards turn 10. ATX James going to take that somewhat defensive line through 10. But I think he's got the move very much cemented and done. Oh, just pulled out a little bit there, did Tom. He thought about it, making sure that Red Bull's mirrors were still full. Oh, he's had a little bit of a wobble. That's a mistake there from James. Could this be Tom's chance to get back past the Red Bull then? As he now drops out of the DRS zone. That could spell disaster then for the Red Bull driver. He's going to probably try and use a bit of the battery to get back in the zone. As he is at 0.5%, but he's got enough to try it. He needs to get back within it, otherwise this could spell curtains for his Grand Prix. As once you do lose that DRS, it is very tricky to get back in with it. And you do tend to find you drop like a stone. He's still just outside that second. Using up the battery there is James a little bit. Try and get within the DRS zone. Through sector 1 they go. Now to the tricky twisty section then at the end of the sector before we get onto the straights then. The Mistral, here we go, through 7, through up towards turn 8, apologies. Number 7 is the lead onto the straight. Has he got the DRS? Yes he has. He should be safe as houses then as he tries to pull away from Tom behind. We've got a bit of a scrap here further down. The two lads that had to pit on lap 1 after having contact luckily didn't DNF themselves. They're having a little bit of a scrap now in towards turn 3 of Hotel, as I believe AMS Lawrence there, that's Kieran's teammates, had a bit of a mishap into the Nord chicane. But these two are giving it a good old try, aren't they? They're fighting down at the back, but it doesn't matter because it's a bit of fun for them, I think, at this point. DRS will be an activation for Kieran. He'll pull up alongside towards the Nord chicane. I think he'll have that move done nice and easy before they even get to the braking zone. Yes, Kieran takes the position. He'll take P14 then away from Liam Hardman, as I'm sure these two will be trading positions back and forth throughout this Grand Prix as they make their way through Chennai into Sector 2 and then get to Sector 3, of course, after that, if you can count, which it should be fairly easy to do. 1, 2 and 3, only 3 sectors here, unlike the MotoGP. They like to have 4, apparently, which I have found out very recently, but nonetheless, we're not here to watch motorcycles, we're here to watch these brilliant machines. That is a Formula 1 car, all the aerodynamics you want and need to give you the absolute best lap times of any vehicle produced in the world. It is the pinnacle of motorsport, and these guys putting on a good show, showing us why it is that as well. That's Tom. He's going to get the move back on James into the braking zone. I think James maybe lost that DRS. It does appear to be so. AMS Kieran, first man to pick up a time penalty this evening. You got to imagine that's track limit violations. No certainty or guarantee is BRT, sorry, not BPRL. Whoa, there's a little wobble. He's made a mistake. He's gone wide. Luckily, he's got the runoff area as IRS Innis goes through as well. And BRT Meatball then, he's trying to fight back. He's gone round. No, he's gone round completely into the barrier. He flies round completely. He's lit the rear tyres up now. They're going to be hot as anything, and he's going to struggle keeping that in a straight line, I'm sure. Tyler there on the rear of the car already, as I would imagine he may even come into the pits to get off these tyres just so he can get a fresh set on and get a cool set on as well. Yeah, makes his way into the pits. Sensible decision there, as FGE Samuel now also picks up a time penalty. Make our way back to the front then of this Grand Prix. Matteo sitting in second for the time being behind Red Tox, who took the lead a few laps ago. And they're all very closely followed though by B Ford, Paul and Jack RT. This front 5 then making up the battle for the lead of this Grand Prix, as from 6 down the gap has been broken. So they will start to, I would imagine, fall away bit by bit, as we've had our second retirement of the evening. AMS Kieran retiring in the pits, so won't cause any problems or issues, which is good news for us, because of course we want to keep it green throughout. We like racing under green conditions. It gives the best chances of racing to occur, and we do get to see magnificent overtakes in the process of it as well. Through 10 they fly. Absolutely brilliant corner to watch, flat out on the throttle. Through 11, late apex then on the rise up to 12. One of the only little rises you get on this very flat circuit. And B Ford still in hot pursuit on those soft tyres. I wonder when he's going to make the decision to pit. He'll definitely get the undercut over these guys, but of course they'll come back at him later on in the Grand Prix with fresher, softer tyres. But for the moment, they're still running the top 5 as they are. Very much in a little bit of a train now, as it can be quite tricky to overtake round here at the Paul Ricard circuit. Of course, you do have the long straights into heavy braking zones, but even then, the straights are sometimes they're just not long enough, or if they are, you then find that the overtake is far too easy, and they've got it done before they even get into the braking zone. So, next straight coming up now, through 5 and 6 of Virage, and then turn 7 onto the Mistral straight. DRS activation, there it is. The little polystyrene sign telling the drivers they can open that flap in the rear wing. Looks as though the Haas though of Mattei, he's not even using the DRS by the looks of it down that straight. I think he's quite happy sitting up and under behind the Ferrari then of Red Tox. So little bit of strategy going on then here for that BRT Haas. Wants to sit in second. Maybe he's trying to save that battery, but Red Tox doing just enough to save it as well. So battery wise, the strategy then maybe not playing out in Matteo's favour how he would like it to go, as Red Tox not using much of that battery either. So it's all going to come down to strategy, I think this is, as obviously the tyres will play a little bit of a role, but like I said to you a lot earlier, the tyre strategy, it doesn't matter what 2 you go on to, as the lap times in terms of the overall race pace is very minimal. So whichever ones you decide to race on, you're pretty much golden, unless of course safety cars occur, or you know, anything such as that, or an incident, or you spin, or anything in those sorts of that region of things, then it can scupper your strategy a little bit. But keeping it clean, keeping it on the track, and making sure you don't burn them up too fast. Any tyre will do. Lap 11 then of 27. Once again, back onto the Mistral straight for the 11th time in this front pack of 5. Will we see a move this time? No. Again and again, we're looking at that Haas there. It's very interesting, deciding not to use the DRS then, that he is allowed to do so to help him overtake. He wants to sit in P2, does Matteo, and therefore not using the DRS is helping him to do so, because he doesn't get that burst of extra speed that you get from opening that rear wing. It could make him a little bit vulnerable to B4 behind though, who is deciding to use that DRS in the rear wing. So he'll open the flap, he'll get a bit of extra speed down that straight, and it does mean then he could come under threat, Matteo, from the likes of B4 behind. But for the moment, I think that he's quite comfortable where he is. He's just playing the long game here. You don't have to win the race in the first, few laps. You especially don't have to win it into turn 1, and you won't win it into turn 1. Of course, it is a long game that you have to play. It is all strategic. It's all in the mind. It is like chess sometimes, as we have seen the likes of Carlos Sainz being able to perform that at Singapore, for example. Playing the mind games, but playing the strategy. Held Lando Norris in his DRS to make sure he could defend from the Mercedes that were charging them down from behind. And so yeah, on that occasion, the Ferrari man, who unfortunately will be leaving thanks to Lewis Hamilton joining, deserved or not, I don't know. I think Carlos deserved the seat, but here we go. You don't turn down a 7-time world champion. Some may argue 8, but either way, he is one of the greatest. But again there, here we go. B Ford maybe making a move then. He pulled out the slipstream just a bit there on Matteo. I think Matteo was using the DRS that time, but no move came off of it. He's just making sure that Matteo is awake. He's reminding them that B Ford is there. And he will make sure that his mirrors are filled with that papaya orange of that McLaren. He's getting very close then into 11. Long right-hander, late apex. Use as much of that rumble strip on exit as you dare to maximise your lap time. But we are watching a procession at the moment, and I think now we are waiting for those pit stops to arrive, so then we can see a little bit of action. There goes a car in. That was the McLaren. McLaren's in. B40 is in. He's the first to blink, but no surprise as he is on that soft compound tyre. He's given up on them, and so he's going to get that undercut. Will we see then a reaction from the guys out front here? As I'm trying to think who it was. It was AMS Lawrence, who also picked up a time penalty, I would imagine, for some track limit violations. But B Ford is in onto the medium compounded tyre, and he's going to be absolutely charging down this lead group on the outlap. He's going to be pushing like mad to try and get that undercut done. He'll probably make it work very well, as he was very quick at the start of this Grand Prix. Went from pretty much last all the way up into the podium spots. So keep an eye on that lap time, as that is going to be a man on a mission now in that McLaren. The question will be, as there's a mistake then from the Ferrari of Paul, goes a little bit wide into the Nord chicane, cuts off the second part of it. This is now going to make him vulnerable from Jack RT behind. The Red Bull got a chance then to make a move. They're side by side through turn 10, down towards 11. The Ferrari is now passed by the Red Bull, who's got the move done into 11. And Jack RT will happily take that away from the mistake then of that Ferrari. Good move, good opportunistic move then from Jack, and he'll take that podium spot. Of course, it is only a provisional podium spot at the moment, but they all stay out. Oh no, wait, that was the Haas, no, not the Haas, sorry, that was the Red Bull and the Haas. Both of them in. Red Tox, Matteo in, as Jack RT and Paul now stay out. They'll take the provisional lead then of this Grand Prix. But of course, they've got some cars charging them down behind. The question is going to be, where is B Ford in all of this? He's side by side with AMS Lawrence. AMS Lawrence into the pit. In through the final corner he goes of DuPont. And where is this going to put him out in relation to the likes of Matteo and Red Tox, who just pitted on that? There they are, pit exit. And he's absolutely got the jump on him. Takes the provisional lead then of this Grand Prix. Does B Ford. The question is now, is he going to try and run away with it, break that toe? He's out of the DRS at the moment, so Red Tox is going to have to put in a big effort to get in that DRS. Otherwise, this could be B Ford's race to run away with, as we've got to move then a bit further up. Anis then making a move on Tom. And he's got the move done nice and easy then, actually, before we've even got to the Nord chicane. And he'll take the provisional P3 at the moment. But, of course, these guys out front haven't stopped as of yet. So, realistically, the lead man at the moment is B Ford, as that's a move from Matteo back on the Ferrari. He'll take provisional P2 then. I'm saying provisional a lot, I realise it. I'll try not to. But he will then take provisional P2 back from that Ferrari of Red Tox. And he'll go try and chase down the likes of B Ford in that FGE McLaren. Jack RT pull into the pits then on lap 14. Just a bit now over the halfway point, as we are about to finish lap 14 and go on to 15. And my question is, where are these two going to come out in relation to Matteo and B Ford? That's going to be the big question. Matteo giving it his all to try and close that gap to B Ford. Battery being used on both fronts, attack and defence. B Ford going to take that win. There's the Red Bull and the Ferrari on pit exit. They're obviously going to come out behind, but they're going to have the freshest tyres of all. Tom has decided to, though, he stayed out for the time being. He's got the lead of this Grand Prix at the moment, has Tom for Stride Esports, but he's still yet to make a pit stop. Everyone else now seems to have done so. And so it should all cycle back to somewhat normal. As Matteo, he's actually managed to get in the DRS zone of B Ford, done an incredible effort there. Used pretty much all the battery to get back within the DRS zone of him. But now he can sit there and bide his time and recharge the battery once again, as he is within the DRS zone. So the DRS will, of course, carry him round a little bit. A question will be, can Red Tox also sneak back under that DRS marker? Yes, he can by the looks of it, but he's still got sector 3 to hold it into turn 11. Is this a move for the lead? Up the inside goes Matteo. He's going to try and hold that tighter line, but B Ford holds it round the outside. He'll then have the inside line there for 12 through 13. And for the moment, B Ford holds on, but that was a cheeky move there for Matteo. Thought about it, maybe taking the lead, but then thought better of it. And he'll sit back in he'll stay in P2 then for the time being. He'll happily pick up the DRS. Will he want to take this lead away? He's lining up a move into turn 1. They're side by side then into the turn 1 chicane. And Matteo then picks up the lead of this Grand Prix. Yet through on the exit of 2, he's definitely got the lead now. Down towards turn 3 of Hotel. And then through 4 into 5 of Virage. He won't have the DRS to help defend him, but he has got the lead of this Grand Prix. So it's changed once again then. B Ford sliding back into P2, but Red Tox now firmly up on these guys. He's in this fight, and the front 3 then is going to be the battle for the lead. Will we see another change? Yes, we will. B Ford then back through on Matteo. He'll retake the lead of this Grand Prix. Matteo absolutely not giving this one up. He's practically pushing B Ford into turn 11, through 10 as well he did, and into the final sector. Here they go. Another penalty for AMS Lawrence. He's not having the best of days, is he? Still in the race though, so that does count for something, but he's picked up a few penalties, of course, along the way. But B Ford doing everything he needs to do at this present moment, but he's got 2 cars behind him that are hungry for that win. Of course, B Ford starting from the very back of this grid, as he did have to serve a qualifying ban. Or should I say, the FGE outfit had to serve the qualifying bans. It's not B Ford's fault. But either way, he had to serve it. So he did start at the back, and he's now currently the leader of this Grand Prix. Through turn 5 of Rivage they go. Tricky right-hander to get right, because it is very important to nail, as it leads you onto the back straight which is the Mistral. And you do need to get the best exit you can to get the drive and gain as much lap time as possible on this straight. DRS not in activation once again for that Haas car. He's definitely playing a strategic game, is Matteo. Wants to hold in second place so that he can just sit within the DRS zone, use the slipstream to keep up, not have to abuse the battery life then of that car. And I think Red Tux at the moment is very much doing the same. Lap 17 then at the moment. And we're about to get through and finish it. As Matteo once again almost pushing that McLaren through turn 11. He's obviously got a little bit of something that the McLaren doesn't. And he's able to just gain just that little bit into the corner. Then come the end of sector 3, it's very much neutralised again. Into the final corner they go, and yeah, it's status quo. It's about 3-4 tenths the gap between the cars here. DRS in activation, and once again the Haas deciding not to use it. He did a little bit there, but he's closed it up way before he needs to, but of course he is gaining on B Ford every time he does so. So if he wants to hold it open a bit longer, I'm sure he could, and I'm sure he could easily put in a move as well. But the battle for the win and for these podium positions is definitely boiling up, and I wonder when it's going to bubble over. That's going to be the big question, of course, because when we get into the latter stages then, into the final few laps, things will get dicey, but the Ferrari's going to try and make a move up the inside of the Haas. Will he get a double then? He's going to think about it. No, didn't quite have the speed, but definitely makes the move into P2. He's past Matteo, so Red Tox then will take P2 away from him, and he'll now have a chance to maybe make the move on B Ford. All of them sitting roughly around the same sort of battery life. So this is very much going to be a race of skill and talent, and of course DRS to help enable you along. But the Ferrari then takes away P2 for the time being, but this of course is not over yet. Still got a few laps to go before we see that checkered flag, and it could still all change here at the top. As Jack RT, noticing the gap between him and now Matteo, is closing down a little bit. So don't count out these guys either. They are closing in on the front group, little bit by little bit, and maybe we could see what's going to happen before we get to the end of the race. The Ferrari there taking the defensive line to try and fend off the Haas. He'll have a little bit of a compromised exit out of 2 towards 3, but he's got the speed. I don't think it's going to be a problem at the moment. And then he's got this DRS straight coming up to once again help neutralise the fight. But Jack RT there, look, the gap's coming down still bit by bit, 10th by 10th. It's 1.6 then the gap. It was about 2 when they crossed the start-finish line. So in the matter of a sector, he's closed up by nearly half a second. He will of course not have the DRS, but I think those two behind working together is Paul and Jack, using the DRS to help gain in. There we go, 1.5 seconds. It's come down a little bit more. So don't count out those two guys just yet. There's still a few laps to go, and they are closing in on this front group. It could be a top 5 again for the win. At the moment, everything holding station, status quo being held. Wide line there from the Haas. I wonder if he is just trying to not, try and take a slightly slower approach to it, just to not gain too much into the final sector. But the guys behind, they're now within that DRS zone, so keep an eye on them, because this could get feisty for the win, as it's now going to become a top 5 then for the lead of this Grand Prix. Do not go anywhere, folks. We've still got 7 laps to come, and we've got 5 cars all fighting it out for the win of this Grand Prix. The McLaren, the 2 Ferraris, the Haas and the Red Bull. And I wonder, the fact that there is 2 Ferraris out front here, can they help each other to gain some positions? And of course, well, they're going to help. They're going to try and help each other out, aren't they? They are teammates. They're for the same esport team as well. So if one gets ahead, you would argue that they will definitely try and help the other out and improve their position in the standings. ABS at the moment currently sitting second behind BRT. And with only one man in the top 10, that's Matteo we're riding on board with. He's not going to be picking up as many points as that Ferrari ABS outfit. So this is a good chance here then for ABS to close that gap up, keep the fight alive into the final few Grand Prix. Like I said, this is the third of 3 left. We've got 2 races to come after, being China and Brazil. Very much looking forward to the finale of Brazil. It always produces an absolute banger of a race, but I'm not going to wish away this one we're currently watching unfold, because we've still got the last closing stages to come, and we've got a nice 5-way battle for the lead then of this Grand Prix. Who knows who's going to win it? B Ford holding station out front, all of them charging the battery up a little bit, as I think that's very much going to come down to strategy. Who is going to use enough? Who's going to be able to save enough battery to use at the right time? And of course, I think the prime position to be in is either second or third once you get onto the final lap, to help with that DRS and enable the move into the Nord chicane. But we'll see how things play out. 6 left to go, as FGE Samuel picks up another time penalty, or maybe that was his, I think that might have actually been his first, tell a lie. So yeah, not his day either at the moment. He's down in 10th position for the time being, and he's got Tyler keeping in company right behind him. Only 4/10 separates them. I wonder, is he going to gain and overtake him down the back straight there? We'll have a quick look on board then. DRS in activation for Tyler. He's going to have that rear wing open. He'll pull out of the slipstream then alongside the McLaren, and I think he may even have it done before the braking zone. He absolutely does. So Tyler then takes P10 away from the FGE man, and he'll try and go chasing off the next guy down the road, as I'm sure Samuel will keep within the tow and the DRS of that McLaren, and may even make a position back. But for the time being, Tyler with a good move then, taking away the final point scoring position, as we are back on board with this front 5, and we are just very much waiting for the water to boil over and to make this broth absolutely explode with flavour. In through the chicane they go, down towards turn 3 of Hotel, and then quick right, quick left through 4, and then another quick right into Rivage. And as I say, important corner to nail the exit, as from about here you're flat out right up until the next braking zone, which is going to be the Nord chicane. So it's important to get a good exit out of there, because it does mean you will either gain or lose time all the way down this straight until the chicane here in the middle. Ferrari there just pulling out the slipstream somewhat a little bit of B Ford, decided not to use the DRS. I noticed that a lot this race, these guys not wanting to take the lead really away. They'd rather sit behind it, but it does mean that they become a bit under threat from the man in 3rd, 4th and 5th, as they of course also have that DRS, and if the guy in 2nd's not using it, they'll get the advantage over him instead. Well, as well as the guy in 1st place. So it's interesting how this is playing out, of course. Bit of a Ferrari sandwich I'm sure Matteo is finding himself in at the moment, but he's holding his own, he's holding steady, and the Ferrari of Red Tox is very much trying to fill the wing mirrors of that McLaren. He's darting out from side to side a couple of times in these braking zones. He's doing it once again here. He's also, I think, trying to maybe break the toe from the guys behind so that they don't get an extra boost of slipstream with that DRS as well. So, of course, maybe it's a bit of that, but he's also, maybe he's trying to put off B Ford in front, filling his wing mirrors. Maybe you'll think he'll go for a lunge, who knows? But they are still holding station at the moment. Back once again onto the Mistral straight, lap 23 then. We are very much in the closing stages. These guys all in the hunt for the win. DRS in activation, even the Ferrari using it this time by as ABS pulled. And there's a move though from Matteo, pulls out the slipstream of the Ferrari, couldn't quite get alongside. He may have to settle for 3rd this time by for the minute, but now we're getting into the hot end of this Grand Prix, as we may begin to see some moves to try and see who's going to take the win away this evening. I think that may have been blow number 1 for the Haas BRT car, and it didn't quite make connection to the jaw of that Ferrari. He'll have to settle for third for another lap, but here we are. It's getting into crunch time now as we begin to see a flurry of blows, I'm sure, coming up. But everyone holding their guard up tight to their chest and their face as they try. Yeah, they're absolutely trying to hold out. Here we go then. Start of lap 24. 3 to go then. B Ford still leading the Grand Prix from Red Tox, Matteo, Paul, Jack RT. This top 5 before we get to Anis, 10 seconds back. He's closely followed by ATX James in the sister Red Bull. And then Tom Banner. Actually, we've got a little train forming here as well for P6. P6 down to P9. Nice little train forming up as well behind IRS and Nis. Currently holding it. You can see the leaders in the back shot there, making their way down the Mistral. Are we going to maybe see a move here then from ATX James? Kept it pretty neat through that 6 and 7 off the exit of 5. DRS then in activation. The Red Bull, pulls out of the slipstream of the Williams. I think we may see a double move here then. The Alfa Romeo, also sneaking his way through past the Red Bull. Is he going to lose 3? The Alfa Tauri of Niall trying to get involved as well on the exit of the Nord chicane. Thought didn't quite have the exit speed, but just like that, a blink of an eye, and the Williams almost lost all 3 positions to the guys that were following him. He's now in the middle though, and he'll go chasing after, try and regain those positions he just lost. But he got another fresh battle here though for P6. Of course, a couple of penalties for these guys as well. That will shake things out too. But it is close fighting up and down the grid wherever you look. So lap 25 has begun for the leaders. We're just riding on board here then with the second pack. The second train then, if you like, as they now make their way across the start-finish line. 2 to go. Or 3 to go, apologies. I've got it all wrong. My maths is not mathsing this evening. We've got this lap, 25, 26, and then of course 27 to finish it off. And we've got some close racing up and down the field, which is always fantastic to see. That's deep though from IRS Anis. This could give Niall a good chance on the exit of 5 through 6. He's pretty close to the back of that Williams, who's lost a significant amount of time. He's still within the DRS zone though, crucially, and will have that rear flap open on the rear wing to help him along with a bit of speed as Tom goes for a move then for P6. That was a late dart to the left. Maybe James there trying to fend off the likes of Anis behind. Unfortunately, Niall unable to get through. He had a bit of a chance as Tyler and Sam they're switching positions once again. That Williams weaving a little bit left and right. That's a bit cheeky from him. Maybe he's trying to signal, don't pass me. I'm going for the move, as he is, yeah, round the outside of the Red Bull. He's trying it on James. James just about holding him off on the inside line, able to block the line that the Williams wants to use. Of course, he's every right to do so, as long as he doesn't make any sudden movements in the braking zone, and he's not alongside, because then, of course, he will be entitled to some racing room. But James there doing an absolute masterclass in defending through that final sector. On to lap 26. This is now going to be crunch time for these guys out front. Who's going to make the move? Who's going to try and steal the lead and snatch it away from B Ford at the moment? It is very close indeed, as AMS Lawrence picks up another 3-second time penalty. On to the Mistral for the second to last time. FGE Sam, they're also picking up another one as well. Will we see a movement into the Nord chicane? The Ferrari taking that very defensive line. Will the Haas go round the outside? Yes, he will. Late onto the brakes, and now he'll have the inside line for the second part. The Ferrari trying to hang it round the outside, but what a fantastic move there by Matteo to take away second place from the Ferrari of Red Tox. Absolute masterclass in overtaking, well respectful of the rules as well. And that is exactly what he needed heading into the final sector here. Jack RT trying to sneak it up the inside of the other Ferrari just a bit further back there. They're side by side through 12 and then I'm sure 13 as well. as the Ferrari, they're just eking out the Red Bull of Racing Room. I think he was okay in doing so. There is plenty of runoff. Maybe it was a little bit cheeky, but nonetheless, it was okay. Now here comes the all-important final lap. Lap 27 has now begun. Who is going to take the win away here at the French Grand Prix? It's been an absolute masterclass of racing. It's all strategic in the mind. It is, as I say, that game of chess which everyone needs to play to their fullest. Now, who is going to get checkmate and take the win of this Grand Prix? Will it be B4? Will it be Matteo? Or will it be the Ferraris or the Red Bull of Jack as well? Onto the Mistral straight for the final time. You can imagine all the battery is going to be used here. B4 trying to break that toe. DRS in activation for the Haas. He's going to have to do it the long way, but he managed it last time. Can he manage it once again? Round the outside into the chicane. He has. He takes the lead away from this Grand Prix. He's repeated what he did last time. Got a bit squirrely on the exit though. B4 back up into the lead. Here comes Red Sox. Will he have a chance then to take the lead of this Grand Prix? He's going to try and hold it round the outside of B4 through 10. They're still side by side. The Ferrari of Paul going side by side with Matteo into 11. B4 still holding out. Oh my god, it's 3 wide almost. The Ferrari there ghosted for just a moment, and they are still side by side. The two Ferraris going at it, hammer and tong. B4 still holding out of the lead through 13 into the penultimate of Latour, and I think it's going to be all over. Never mind, Matteo. Last minute lunge into the final corner. B4's going to have the up and under. It's going to be a drag to the line. Who's going to get it? B4's still just ahead. My word, this is fantastic. Oh, Matteo takes it at the line. My word. 8 thousandths of a second is the gap between 1 and 2. Matteo steals it. My word, what a finish to this Grand Prix that was. ABS Paul, he's going to take P3 to round out the podium. Jack RT takes P4. His teammate James is 5th. What happened to Red Sox? I do not know. He's DNF'd. I didn't even see what happened. I was too fixated on that drag race to finish off this Grand Prix as we wait for the final man, Liam Hardman, to come over the line. In the final sector he goes, through Latour and into DuPont, and to finish off this Grand Prix. What a magnificent end to the Grand Prix here in France that was. I'm almost speechless in a way. I can't be, of course, but my word, that was absolutely thrilling and fantastic to see. 8 thousandths of a second separated your winner from P2. B4, of course, takes your driver of the day, as he did start at the very back of the Grand Prix. I'm going to have to give it to him as well from myself. He is my driver of the day too, as he did put on an absolute masterclass. But taking it right at the death is this man, Matteo, for BRT. On the top step once again is the Bunga Racing team, and I tell you what, they're going to be talking about that win, I would imagine, for the next week. And I don't think Matteo will stop going on about it either. What a magnificent overtake right on the final corner and up to the line. He's going to be absolutely screaming, just as I was in my own room. Brilliant victory, brilliant end to the Grand Prix, and that rounded off then for the Euro Titans Championship. Round 10 here for the French Grand Prix, and it ends in spectacular style, as I was expecting it to do so as well. But Matteo will be your winner this evening. 8 thousandths of a second, I will say it once again, 8 thousandths of a second between himself and Beeford, who takes P2, and ABS Paul for the Ferrari rounds out the podium. Brilliant race from everybody there as well. Jack RT will take 4th, his teammate James will finish in 5th, and Niall there for AlphaTauri. Total Impact Racing, they'll be happy with a 6th position from him, I am sure. IRSNS is 7th, Tom Bunner in his debut takes 8th. BRT Meatball, he gets some points in the end there, he takes P9. Tyler 10 to round out the top 10 as well. He'll pick up a point. Good news for him. And then we have FGE Sam, AMS Lawrence and Liam Hardman. And of course, I think he'll be classified Red Tox, but technically didn't finish. And neither did Kieran or Hockside. But all of our retirees there at the bottom. But Phew, I can breathe a sigh of relief to that magnificent end there. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you did, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did then at the end of the Grand Prix. We're here for round 11 next week, same time, 8 p.m. GMT for the Chinese Grand Prix. Be here to witness it in its glory, as I'm sure we are all expecting and awaiting the return for the real life Chinese Grand Prix, because it is a magnificent track to race around. But that's all for me. I've been Ashley. I hope you've enjoyed this evening, and we'll see you in a week's time then for the Chinese Grand Prix.